Orlo grabs the bag and throws it at the carriage.
Don't you dare.
Orlo, no.
Well, great
Wait,
campaign,
no,
guys.
come back.
Sweet, black hole, let's go.
With that, they will head out to the landing that overhangs the waterfall, and you see for the first time Avram transform, and Sorth also. And as I said before, Avram is a silver dragon, and Sorth is a gold dragon, and both of them transform and take off into the early morning over the city.
Are the other two fire and ice dragons?
They are not.
I thought Sorth was like the dragon, the green dragon with the forest growing up his back.
He is. They're sorry. They are analogs of these. So
Gotcha.
his representation of that is that, especially when he is in Elriel, but their true nature is golden and silver.
Okay, cool. Couldn't they have just flown us to Black Record?
Could have. You didn't ask them for that.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna roll my eyes.
Well, seriously, it's a long way, like.
Lady Alhaya sits there, and she again reiterates the point that she made previously. She says, I don't know what I can do more to, but anything that you need from me, I will be here, and I will do my best to repay the debt that I owe to you for freeing me. I do have one thing in particular that I would like to grant you as well. Is there anything else in this moment that I can do for you?
There was one I was hoping to ask, Lady
Yes.
Alhaya. You hold a considerable sway over the leadership of this town, do you not?
The leadership of this town used to be mine. We have many discussions to have about that, but I would say so, yes.
It is my great hope to secure a grant of land. Nothing large, a few acres at the very most, upon which to build a chapel to house some members of my order. Of course, the order as it was housed here would be of service to Elmenhof whenever she needs us. But one of the goals I have in mind when I set out from Argent was to try and rebuild my knightly order from the state in which we find ourselves today. This small grant of land would be of an extreme help to us in making strides toward that goal.
She pauses for a moment. Would those housed here be members of your choosing or your orders?
I do not know if I could stay and minister the chapel myself. I would leave my brother here and his squire, who were also instrumental in your freedom, if you recall.
Yes, they were.
They generally would recruit from the local populace, but the Order of the Fleur Blanc does not press people into service. It is a solemn oath which we take, one which asks a lot of its members. So we do not script. We strictly only take volunteers, and we work towards the furtherance of justice and civilization in the areas in which we find ourselves. It certainly wouldn't be an imposition upon the populace of Elmen. A call would go out for volunteers, of course, but we would not be forcing anybody into service or taking anybody into service who we deemed prone to the abuse of power.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion with advantage, if you would.
All right. Ah, not great. I got a 3 and a 1.
Ooh!
But my persuasion brings it up to a 9.
Okay. She seems hesitant. I agree to your terms because you have done something I could never have asked of anyone. But what I will ask is, while I don't expect you to be here at all times, especially with the matters at hand as they are, I would love for you to be our liaison with your order, as it were. I would be very willing to work and help you build this, and I'm very willing to create a hospitable environment in which we can both exist. But, and I mean this with no disrespect, but your order I do not trust. You and your friend I do. And provided I have your word that you will assist us in making sure things are amenable on both sides, then I absolutely agree.
Roland takes his gauntlet off of his hand and then offers it in a handshake. And he says, "You have my word."
She extends her hand and she gives you a small bow. Says, then it will be done. Is there something that is specific about the way that you build your churches, or is that something that we can arrange on our own and have you?
There's a general layout, but chapels tend to spring up however they will. So whatever is most convenient for the resources we have at hand.
If you are accepting of this, I will have Michel and his squire assist in designing and figure out the other things later then.
Excellent.
Then it will be done.
Roland bow.
She gives a small bow back as well. And for the rest of you, I again can never fully repay the debt that I owe you. I will offer my services in any way that I can, whether that is an army, resources, money, whatever I can provide, I will, provided it is within our means. I do not require you to give me an answer at the moment. Just know that at any point when you need me, I will be here. You have created an ally in me that you could never waver with what you have given me. And I swear on my people, my town, and myself that if you ask, I will be there.
And I'll just do a deep formal curtsy.
Now, for my gift to you. I do not know if you have a place that you call home. On your long trips, I imagine that can be extremely difficult. I know that you have a very noble steed, and
No, his name is Steve.
you see her kind of take pause for a minute, and yes, the owlbear, as it were.
Apologies, Lady Elhai. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
No problem.
And when he's comfortable.
When Emmerin apologizes, I'm just gonna smile at him.
When you smile at him, he kind of like glances at you and looks away like really uncomfortably.
While you are on the road, it can be difficult to be comfortable. And I have a very particular thing that I use in these situations. She calls out for one of the guards, and it takes a few minutes as time passes. after a few minutes, Steve, Max, the rest of your effects, anything that was left behind, is brought up to you.
With
Buttonhead.
alcohol and
Button
cigarettes.
But
all the duty-free stuff we got, back and pad stuff.
but behind them, as they're pulling it up this this road, there is a deep black, like ebony carriage, very intricately laid with silver filigree. It's very
Fucking Strahd.
polished and sleek, and the wheels are reinforced and very exquisite quality. This thing is beautifully. And she says, "I offer you this as a gift. I only ask that you be very careful." And she takes a look directly at you, Aya. "You carry something that may be adversely affected by this."
The orb?
No. She points at your bag.
It's that shard you're carrying around, I think is what she's talking about.
I think it's the bag of holding.
That one.
Oh.
This carriage will be comfortable for you, your companion, as well as for storing anything. But I would keep that bag very far away from you if I were you.
Orlo grabs the bag and throws it at the carriage.
Don't you dare.
Orlo, no!
Well, great
Wait,
campaign,
no,
guys.
Come back.
Sweet, black hole, let's go.
I've never personally tested the theory, and especially with how interesting magic is being, I can't tell you what would happen. I would just advise caution and discretion. You can use the inside of this carriage as normal. The bag can safely be inside, but there's also an extra dimensional space on the interior in which you can rest and keep yourselves more safe than just being on the open.
That's
We'll probably
very-
need that. Outposts have been a little bit flaky for us.
I meant all the
Maybe
hands
if they
go into
weren't
their
full
hands.
of Cheetos.
I wonder why that is, Orlo.
Hard to say.
Indeed.
The guards there do seem to be a little sleepy.
Yeah, they don't even keep watch. It's ridiculous.
And then
Lady
don't
Ohio,
bring
it's a
them
very
on.
it's a very generous gift. We really do appreciate it.
I find that I will not be traveling juncture, especially with my recent excursion going so poor. Is the least I can do.
Yes, are those two gonna be coming back anytime soon to make sure you're okay?
I'm sure they will. We have much to discuss.
Good.
So what is this carriage specifically? Like,
So this
What
is
is-
something that I
what does it have?
designed,
Yeah.
but it is the carriage of the Ebon Vault, is what I've called it. It is a carriage, much described as it was, but inside, as you open the doors, there is velvet lined carriage, extremely opulent. It's all gold and, like I said, gold velvet and just absolutely opulent. There's drapes and seats. There's actually a small like chandelier that hangs inside of it, and it smells like an old book. But inside of that, there is another small door at the back in which you can open, and inside of that is an extra dimensional space. It is large enough for up to 6 people to go inside. You can go in and rest comfortably. There is spots for sleeping and eating. You basically could exist in this. Not quite like Mordenkainen's mansion levels of large, but it is big enough that it is comfortable and you have the capacity to keep as much stuff in here as you like. A bag of holding can hold, I think it's about 500 pounds. This can hold 5,000. It is large, reinforced, extremely safe space. But again, still an extra dimensional space. The inside
So
of
many
it,
experiments.
the inside of it is kind of just like the interior of a castle. It is stonework wood, but it is again very opulent. There's a lot of like velvet and gold and the candelabras and like everything that is in there is fit for a princess specifically.
Oh, finally. Treated like I should.
Laya is very clearly very excited about this chariot. It is the first time she has felt home in a very long time.
She also says, if you wish to have, and she like swallows very hard. Steve, it was, yes.
Yeah, yes, Steve.
Oh, you can call him by his full name.
And what would that be?
Mr. Stevington.
No.
There's
It's
no way.
It's just Steve.
Did I not tell you guys that? No, it's his name. Mr. Stevington.
If you wish,
Mr. Steven.
What, you got a problem with that?
No, it's just I just didn't.
As
He did say
As-
Steve was short for something.
I just assumed it was Steven, and I suppose that's on.
Why, what's Max short for? Something Maximilian? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was Maxwell.
No.
Not Maximus.
No.
Maximus Decimus Aurelius.
Got it in one.
See, you had so many opportunities, and you went with Maximilian. No, Mr. Stevington. Everybody's gonna remember that.
Max loves his name. Well,
I'm sorry,
I
I didn't mean to
suppose.
make that canon. It was just the first thing that came off the top of my head, and I'm very
no,
sorry.
it's in there
It's
now.
done now.
As you say, Max loves his name. Max very loudly just goes.
See, that's probably a positive noise.
Looks at you most horsishly.
You can have Steve, Mr. Stevington, pull it if you would like.
I'm
Or
so sorry.
I can also provide horses for you. It is up to you.
Oh,
Oh, I think
Steve could
Steve would love that.
would love what, having his own horses?
Pulling
Yes,
it.
I
Or-
agree.
No,
I agree.
pulling the carriage.
Oh, I thought he might like to live in here with us, and somebody could haul him around for a change.
I thought you meant he
See,
was gonna
Laya,
use
this is
horse.
why Steve doesn't like you.
What are we gonna do with the old cart?
You can leave it here. We'll take care of it if you'd like. We can always use them.
Donate it, perhaps.
I feel like it's a situation of like, what, this cart? And you kind of like hit it a little bit hard, and the whole thing just falls apart.
Perhaps there's a family who needs one. We could give it to them.
Cash for clunkers. I think NPR every year takes carts. The famous wizard Ira Glass has been collecting carts for years. Short monthly tributes of just a few coppers to be entered into the running to be sent to parts unknown.
I swear to God, Burke, if I have to write this in a book, we're fighting.
No, you can't. You absolutely can't include Ira Glass's name or likeness into anything you're selling for money.
I could find
You
a
will
way.
receive a phone call, and it won't be a friendly phone call.
A cease and desist immediately.
Yeah,
I type it
there's-
into a Google sheet and it just
Lakshmi
immediately
Singh is
phone
going
rings.
to come to your house and punch you in the face.
You know what? I'm here for that.
Mm.
Yeah, so that is up to you guys if you would like to have the horses or if you would just prefer that Steve does it. That is entirely your choice.
Would Steve be interested in sitting in the carriage?
You can
I
ask
feel like
him.
I feel like that would be too enclosed. I don't feel like that'd be comfortable for Steve.
I have 2 questions. And one of these is very important because Emmerin has shenanigans on his mind.
Do I get to pick which one's important?
Of course you do. You're the DM.
Yeah. The first question is, how big is the door?
It
And
is
this-
roughly a normal carriage size, so it's about shoulder width wide.
Okay, so an owlbear is not going to fit in the carriage.
I
is what
mean,
I'm getting.
He's gonna fit of his own volition, but it's not gonna be good for the carriage.
So Steve should not come inside.
Is what I'm gathering.
What was the second
Secondly,
question?
what is the volume of this extra dimensional space? I know it's 5,000 pounds.
That's how much it can hold. And
That's how much I know. That's the weight capacity it can hold.
Right.
But what is the volume?
You're gonna make me do fucking
What-
math.
What an absolutely loaded fucking question.
It is.
Look, a bag of holding has a volume,
It does.
and it's important for me to know this
It is
simply because. Actually, I don't know if I want to tell you.
Hmm.
So that we can get our hands on a ratty sack and just release the rats into the extra dimensional space.
Also, just to
Close.
clarify, Zam, you are safe bringing your bag in because it is not a storage bag; it is a magical bag. Just for clarity's sake.
Yes.
But it is the interior is 30 feet across, 20 feet like front to back, and then 15 feet tall.
30 by 20 by 15.
Yes.
So it's a volume of 9,000 square feet. Cubic feet.
I trust you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't trust you with what you're going to do, but I trust you that that's the
This-
correct number.
This is gonna be one of those Dungeons and Dragons stories where like someone has to look up like the molar weight of hydrogen, and then the DM dies. out.
1.01.
Molar
Come on.
mass.
Molar mass is 1.01. Come on. Get it together.
Science, bitch.
It is the metric by which we know all other masses. Come on.
Is it?
I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
I don't know anything about chemistry. Have you seen me talk to anybody else?
Anyway.
You must be Vanderwall's forces because I find you attractive.
I'm sure that's a very funny joke.
It is. I
It's
like
not.
it.
I'm almost positive. That's a very funny joke.
And I'm negative, hence we're attracted to each other.